proclamation opening the first session of the 7th National Assembly. Honourable members, in compliance with Standing Order 3 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly 1995, I shall read Proclamation number 49 of 2019, given on 15th November 2019 under the hand and seal of His Excellency, Honourable His Excellency Vayapuri, Grand Officer Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, Acting President of the Republic of Mauritius, summoning the Assembly. Proclamation number 49 of 2019. To proclaim the opening of the first session of the 7th National Assembly by His Excellency Mr. Paul Masivam Pile Vayapuri, Grand Officer of the Order and the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean, Acting President of the Republic of Mauritius. Whereas, by Section 56(1) of the Constitution of Mauritius, it is provided that the sessions of the National Assembly shall be held in such place and begin at such time as the President by proclamation may appoint. And whereas, it is further enacted by Section 56(4) of the Constitution that a session of the National Assembly shall be appointed to commence within 30 days of the date prescribed for polling at any general election. Now, therefore, in the exercise of the powers vested in me as aforesaid, I do hereby proclaim that the first session of the 7th National Assembly shall begin on the 31st day of November 2019, and that the first sitting of the 7th National Assembly in its first session shall be held on the day aforesaid at 11:30 hours in the chamber of the Assembly in Port Louis. Given at the State House, Peredri, this 15th day of November 2019. Administration of oath of allegiance to or affirmation or declaration by members. In compliance with Standing Order 4 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly 1995, I shall now proceed with the administration of the oath of allegiance, which honourable members are required to make and subscribe, as prescribed in Schedule 3 of the Constitution, prior to taking part in the proceedings of the Assembly, other than the proceedings necessary for the purposes of this order. I shall proceed in the following order. The Honourable Prime Minister and Leader of the House will be called first, followed by the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Vice Prime Ministers and Ministers, who will be called in turn in order of precedence, and will come to the upper step at the lectern, first to make and subscribe the oath of allegiance, and thereafter sign the roll of membership at the table, prior to taking the respective seats. Next, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition will be called, followed by the Honourable Parliamentary Private Secretaries and the other Honourable Members in alphabetical order.
Honourable Praveen Kumar Jagannath.
I, Praveen Kumar Jagannath, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Honorable Ivan Leslie Kolanda-Velu, GCSK-SC.
I, Ivan Leslie Kolanda-Velu, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Linda David Dukan Lutchman,
I, Linda David Dukan Lutchman, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Muhammad Anwar Hasni,
I, Muhammad Anwar Hasnu, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Alan Ganu,
I, Alan Gunn, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Renganaden Padayachi,
I, Renganaden Padeachi, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Nan Kumar Boda, GCSK,
I, Nankumar Buddha, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable V. Stephen Lobigadu,
I, Louis Stephen Obigadou, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Fazila Jiwa Delgado DCSK.
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Sumildat Bola.
I, Sumildat Bula, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Honorable Kavidas Ramanu.
I, Kavidas Ramadou, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Honorable Mahen Kumar Siratan.
I, Mahen Kumar Siratan, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Honorable Georges Pierre Lejonga.
I, Georges Pierre Lejonga, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Honorable Manish Gobin.
I, Manish Gobin, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Yogida Sominaden,
I, Yogida Sominaden, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Jean-Christophe et Stéphane Toussaint,
I, Jean-Christophe Stéphane Toussaint, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mahendranath Sharma Ariram,
I, Mahendranath Sharma Hariram, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God. Yes.
Honorable Dasanan Balgobin,
I, Dasanan Balgobin, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Sudes Satkam Kalichern,
I, Satkam Kalichern, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Dr. the Honorable Kailesh Kumar Singh Jagatpal,
I, Dr. Kailesh Kumar Singh Jagatpal, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Sudir Modu.
I, Sudhir Madhu, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Kalpana Devi Kunjusha.
I, Kalpana Devi Kunjusha, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Avinash Tilak.
I, Avinash Tilak, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Tirat Raj Erdoyal.
I, Tiratraj Odayal, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Arvin Bulel, GOSK.
I, Arvind Bulel, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Mrs. Marie-Christiane Dorine Chakori.
I, Marie-Christiane Dorine Chakori, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Anjeev Ramdani.
I, Anjeev Ramdani, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Sharvanan Ramkon.
I, Sharvanan Ramkon, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Rajana Dalia.
I, Rajana Dalia, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Tina Dutton.
I, Tina Dutton, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Muhammad Ismail Rao.
I, Muhammad Ismail Rao, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Nand Prakash Ramcharan.
I, Nand Prakash Ramcharan, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Serge Gilbert Babou.
I, Serge Gilbert Babli, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Marie-Alexandra Tania Diol.
I, Marie-Alexandra Tania Diol, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to God, so help me God. According to law, so help me God.
Honorable Jean-Francisco François.
I, Jean-Francisco François, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mohammad Salim Abbas Mahmoud.
I, Mohammed Salim Abbas Mahmoud, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Syed Muhammad Adil Amir Mia.
I, Syed Muhammad Adil Amir Mia, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Marie Geneviève et Stéphanie Anquetil.
I, Marie-Geneviève Stéphanie Anctil, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Patrice Kersley Armans.
I, Patrice Kersley Armans, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Honorable Patrick Gervais Asiavaden.
I, Patrick Gervais Asiavaden, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Dr. the Honorable Farhad Ismail Omir.
I, Farhad Ismail Omir, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Johanna Marie Béranger.
I, Johanna Marie Béranger, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Paul Raymond Béranger, d'ICSK.
I, Paul Raymond Béranger, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Honorable Rajesh Anand Bhagwan.
I, Rajesh Anand Bhagwan, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Honorable Gilles Fabrice David.
I, Gilles Fabrice David, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Subir Singh Danu.
I, Subir Singh Danu, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Rameshwar Dulab.
I, Rameshwar Dulab, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Charles Gaëtan Xavier Luc Duval d'ICSP.
I, Charles Gaëtan Xavier Luc Duval, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Christian Harold Richard Duval.
I, Christian Harold Richard Duval, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Eileen Karen Lee Shin Fu Kun.
I, Eileen Karen Lichin Fukyun, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mahen Ganga Persad.
I, Mahen Ganga Persad, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Ashley Itu.
I, Ashley Itu, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mohammed Eshan Juman.
I, Mohammed Hassan Juman, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Joseph Buisson-Léopold.
I, Joseph Buisson-Léopold, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Kushal Lobin.
I, Kushal Lobin, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Subhashni Lachman Roy.
I, Subhashni Lachman Roy, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mohamed Osman Kassam Mohamed.
I, Mohammed Osman Kassam Mohammed, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law.
Honorable Mrs. Marie-Sandra Monia Mayotte.
I, Marie-Sandra Monia Mayotte, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Shakil Ahmed Yusuf Abdul Razak Mohammed.
I, Shakil Ahmed Yusuf Abdul Razak Muhammad, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law, so help me God.
Honorable Dharmarajan Nagalingam.
I, Dharmarajan Nagalingam, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Marie Ariane Navarre-Marie.
I, Marie Ariane Navarre-Marie, do swear that I will be faithful and bear allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Muhammad Zaid Nazur Ali.
I, Mohammed Zahid Nazur Ali, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Sanjit Kumar Nakchedi.
I, Sanjit Kumar Nakchedi, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Jean-Patrice France-Quirin.
I, Jean-Patrice France Quirin, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Yes.
Honorable Dhananjay Ramphal.
I, Dhananjay Ramphal, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Miss Navina Ramyad.
I, Navina Ramyad, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Mrs. Marie-Joanne Sabrinato.
I, Marie-Joanne Sabrinato, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Muhammad Reza Kassam Utim.
I, Mohammed Reza Kassam Utim, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Honorable Ranji Vuchit.
I, Ranji Vuchit, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So, God help.
Honorable John Michael Sun Sao Young Sik Young.
I, John Michael Junsao Yang Sikyun, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God.
Election of Speaker. Honourable members, pursuant to Section 32 of the Constitution of the Republic of Mauritius and of Standing Order 7 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly 1995, the Assembly shall now proceed with the election of the Speaker.
Madam Clerk, in accordance with the provisions of Section 32 of the Constitution and Standing Order 7 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly, I move that Mr. Surjdev Fokir, GOSK, be elected Speaker of the House. Madam Clerk, Mr. Fokir attended secondary school at Butchwari College in Port Louis and subsequently taught economics at the same school. Mr. Fokir is a barrister at law of the Honourable Society of Lincoln's Inn in London. He holds several postgraduate diplomas in law, diplomacy, and management. Mr. Fokir is also well known for his contribution as a social worker, whereby he has also been the chairperson of the Mauritius Federation of Young Farmers. Madam Clerk, Mr. Fokir joined politics in 1983. He was elected in constituency number 14, Savannah and Black River, in the 1991 general election to serve the then Legislative Assembly. In 1994, Mr. Fokir was appointed Parliamentary Private Secretary. During that mandate, he also served as member on the Public Accounts Committee. In 2001, Mr. Fokir was appointed ambassador to Egypt. He came back in 2004 to assume responsibility as special advisor to the Ministry of Agro-Industry until 2005. In 2010, he was designated as permanent representative to the African Union. From 2015 to 2019, he served as ambassador of Mauritius to the United States of America with concurrent accreditation to Canada, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Brazil, and Mexico. During his tenure of office, Mr. Fokir also held the post of chairperson of the Economic Development Commission of the African Diplomatic Corps. He also participated in several high-level conferences at the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and represented Mauritius for the AGWA meetings. It is with a sense of pride and pleasure that I move that Mr. Fokir be elected Speaker of this August Assembly.
Is there any counter-proposal? There being no counter-proposal, I declare that Mr. Surjdev Fokir, GOSK, has been elected to take the chair of the Assembly as Speaker. I shall now invite Honourable Surjdev Fokir, GOSK, Speaker-elect, to come to the upper step at the lectern to first make and subscribe the oath of allegiance and thereafter to sign the roll of membership prior to taking the chair of the Assembly.
I, Surjdev Fokir, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Mauritius according to law. So help me God. Honorable members, I feel deeply honored to be entrusted with the responsibilities of presiding over the business of the Assembly, and I am thankful for the confidence placed in me by honorable members. In accordance with custom, I pledge to submit myself to the will of the House. Honorable members, I'm aware of the obligation of the holder of this high office, inasmuch as impartiality and fair play have to be the guiding principles at all times. Honorable members can rest assured of my entire devotion to this august assembly as guardian of the rights and privileges of honorable members. I pledge to ensure that all honorable members are allowed to exercise their rights freely and enjoy their privileges, all privileges within the bounds of the laws, rules, customs, traditions, and usages governing the Assembly. I will always be available to provide such advice and guidance as honorable members, especially the newly elected ones, may require. I'm fully conscious of the exacting tasks that await me, and I'm sure that I can rely on the collaboration and support of all honorable members in order to uphold the dignity and decorum of the House. Honorable members, I wish to thank the Honorable Prime Minister and Leader of the House for having proposed me as Speaker for his kind words. I also wish to thank the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister for seconding the motion. Before I take the chair, I would like to express my appreciation to the clerk and officers of the National Assembly for their continued support and loyalty to every member of the Assembly. I thank you all for your attention.
Election of Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance with the provisions of Section 32 of the Constitution and Standing Order 7 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly, I move that the Honourable Second Member for Montagne Blanche and Grand River South East, Mr. Mohammed Zahid Nazur Ali, be elected Deputy Speaker of the House.
Mr. Speaker, I second.
Is there any other counter proposal? There being no counter proposal, I declare the Honourable Second Member for constituency number 10, Montagne Blanche, Grand River South East, Mr. Nazur Ali, elected Deputy Speaker of this Assembly. I offer him my sincere congratulations.
May I first of all congratulate you, Mr. Speaker, for having been elected to this high office. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister, Leader of the House, and the Deputy Prime Minister for the trust they have placed in me. I am deeply honoured to have been elected Deputy Speaker by this august Assembly. I also take this opportunity to assure honourable members that I will perform my duties in all fairness. I will do my level best to conduct the business of the Assembly and uphold the dignity of the House. I thank you for your attention.
Election of Deputy Chairperson of Committees.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 7 of the Standing Orders and Rules of the National Assembly, I move that Honourable Third Member for Flac and Bonaccueil, Mr. Sanjit Kumar Nakchedi, be elected Deputy Chairperson of committees.
Mr. Speaker, second.
Is there any counter proposal? If there is no counter proposal, I therefore declare the Honourable Third Member for Constituency Number 9, Flac and Bonaccueil, Mr. Nakchedi, elected Deputy Chairperson of Committees of this Assembly. I offer him my sincere congratulations.
Mr. the Speaker, sir, may I also congratulate you upon your election to this high office. I am honored to have been elected to serve the House as Deputy Chairperson of Committees. I can assure this august Assembly that I will discharge my responsibilities to the best of my abilities faithfully. I seize this opportunity to thank the Honourable Prime Minister and Leader of the House for the trust he has placed in me. Thank you for your attention.
Announcements none. Papers have been laid. Statements by Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have two statements to make. The first statement is with regard to the Chagos Archipelago. And since it is quite a long statement, I shall request the indulgence of honourable members to bear with me. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House will be aware that, pursuant to a request from the United Nations General Assembly, the International Court of Justice gave on 25th February 2019 its advisory opinion on the legal consequences of the separation of the Chagos Archipelago from Mauritius in 1965. The opinion, supported by 13 of 14 judges of the court, made clear that the Chagos Archipelago is and has always been a part of Mauritius. The 14th judge did not express a contrary conclusion. On 22nd of May 2019, the General Assembly adopted by an overwhelming majority of 116 votes to 6, Resolution 73/295, reaffirming inter alia, in accordance with the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, that the Chagos Archipelago forms an integral part of the territory of Mauritius, that the decolonization process of Mauritius was not lawfully completed upon its succession to independence in view of the unlawful excision of the Chagos Archipelago from the territory of Mauritius, and that the ongoing administration of the Chagos Archipelago by the United Kingdom constitutes a continuing wrongful act entailing the international responsibility of that state. The General Assembly accordingly demanded that the United Kingdom withdraws its colonial administration from the Chagos Archipelago unconditionally within a period of no more than 6 months from the adoption of its resolution, that is, by 22nd of November 2019, that is tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, sir, my government, which greatly values the close relations between Mauritius and the United Kingdom, is deeply disappointed that in recent replies to parliamentary questions in the House of Commons and in a written statement on the 5th of November 2019 to the UK Parliament, the UK government has made clear that it does not intend to withdraw its unlawful administration from the Chagos Archipelago by the deadline set by the General Assembly. Government strongly deplores that the United Kingdom has chosen to reject the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice and United Nations General Assembly Resolution 73/295 when it has clearly violated international law. In so doing, the United Kingdom has resorted to groundless arguments, calling into question the authority of the highest court of the world and the United Nations system as a whole. This situation clearly leaves the United Kingdom as an illegal colonial occupier. The United Kingdom has been repeating that it does not share the approach of the International Court of Justice and that the court failed to give sufficient regard to some material facts. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is a fact that the United Kingdom is fully aware that the court carefully considered thousands of pages of factual, material and legal arguments and heard oral submissions from more than 30 states, including the United Kingdom and the African Union over 4 days. The court carefully examined these facts before reaching its conclusions. In other words, it is the court that has not shared the approach of the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has also argued that by agreeing to answer the questions put to it by the General Assembly, the International Court of Justice has allowed Mauritius to circumvent the basic principle that the court should not consider a bilateral dispute without the consent of both states concerned. This position, which was extensively argued by the United Kingdom during the advisory proceedings, was also rejected by the court. The court motivated its decision at paragraph 86 of its advisory opinion, which reads, and I quote, "The court notes that the questions put to it by the General Assembly relate to the decolonization of Mauritius. The General Assembly has not sought the court's opinion to resolve a territorial dispute between two states. Rather, the purpose of the request is for the General Assembly to receive the court's assistance so that it may be guided in the discharge of its functions relating to the decolonization of Mauritius," unquote. The court went on to state at paragraph 90 of its opinion, that is, and I quote, "does not consider that to give the opinion requested would have the effect of circumventing the principle of consent by a state to the judicial settlement of its dispute with another state," unquote. Furthermore, in a separate opinion, the Vice President of the International Court of Justice, Judge Zhu, further elaborated the thinking of the court on that issue. The United Kingdom has also claimed that the March 2015 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea Arbitral Tribunal Award has confirmed that there was a legally binding agreement between Mauritius and the United Kingdom in 1965 for the excision of the Chagos Archipelago from the territory of Mauritius. This is totally untrue. The arbitral tribunal never held that there was such a legally binding agreement. It expressed no opinion whatsoever on whether Mauritius validly consented to the dismemberment of its territory. What it did rule was that the undertakings given by the United Kingdom to return the Chagos Archipelago to Mauritius were no longer needed for defense purposes. To preserve the benefit of any minerals or oil discovered in or near the Chagos Archipelago for Mauritius, and to ensure that fishing rights in the territorial sea of the Chagos Archipelago would remain available to Mauritius as far as practicable, and are also binding upon the United Kingdom. As regards what the United Kingdom claims to be the 1965 agreement, the International Court of Justice, which addressed that issue, stated the following at paragraph 172 of its advisory opinion, and I quote, "In the court's view, it is not possible to talk of an international agreement when one of the parties to it, Mauritius, which is said to have ceded the territory to the United Kingdom, was under the authority of the latter. the court is of the view that heightened scrutiny should be given to the issue of consent in a situation where a part of a non-self-governing territory is separated to create a new colony. Having reviewed the circumstances in which the Council of Ministers of the colony of Mauritius agreed in principle to the detachment of the Chagos Archipelago on the basis of the Lancaster House Agreement, the court considers that this detachment was not based on the free and genuine expression of the will of the people concerned, unquote. The United Kingdom has further invoked security and defense considerations to justify its occupation of the Chagos Archipelago. Once again, this is a baseless argument. Mauritius has stated on various occasions that it fully recognizes the importance of the military base in Diego Garcia and will take no action that will impede its continued operation. Moreover, Mauritius has made clear to the United States that it stands ready to enter into a long-term arrangement in respect of Diego Garcia. Mr. Speaker, sir, it has been the stand of the United Kingdom that the advisory opinion is not a legally binding judgment. While this is technically correct in the abstract, it is actually misleading in the real-life circumstances of this case. The advisory opinion is an authoritative statement of the law by the highest legal authority of the United Nations system. The advisory opinion has in fact recognized and confirmed existing legal obligations emanating from international law that are incumbent upon the United Kingdom. In his presentation of the annual report of the International Court of Justice to the United Nations General Assembly on 30th of October 2019, the President of the Court stated the following with regard to the advisory opinion, and I quote, "Advisory proceedings provide legal clarity by enabling the court to determine the current status of specific principles and rules of international law. Indeed, following the court's advisory opinion, the Assembly affirmed, in accordance with that opinion, that the decolonization of Mauritius had not been lawfully completed, and proceeded to set out the modalities and time frame for the withdrawal by the United Kingdom of its colonial administration, thereby enabling Mauritius to complete the decolonization of its territory," unquote. The United Kingdom government's defiant criticism of the International Court of Justice and its blatant disregard for the advisory opinion of the Court and the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 73/295 undermine its long-standing commitment to a rules-based international system. The UK government's stand has been condemned by the UK leader of the opposition, who has made it clear that a Labour government will respect the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice in full. The United Kingdom cannot profess to be a champion of the rule of law and human rights whilst maintaining an illegal colonial administration in part of the territory of Mauritius and preventing the return to the Chagos Archipelago of the former inhabitants it forcibly removed 5 decades ago, thereby being in clear violation of international law. It is for any country to determine for itself which rules of international law it will abide by and which it will not. It is not for any country, sorry. Let me repeat again. It is not for any country to determine for itself which rules of international law it will abide by and which it will not. Government calls upon the United Kingdom to comply with its obligations under international law as clearly set out in the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice and reaffirmed by the UN General Assembly in its Resolution 73/295 and end its unlawful administration of the Chagos Archipelago. Let me remind the House that this resolution was adopted by an overwhelming majority of 116 votes against only 6 votes. Mr. Speaker, sir, government will continue to be relentless in its efforts to complete the decolonization process of Mauritius. It also remains strongly committed to implementing a program for urgent resettlement in the Chagos Archipelago. The systematic refusal by the United Kingdom to allow the former residents of the Chagos Archipelago to return is a particularly grave matter. It violates their most fundamental human rights. Government will also pursue its efforts to challenge the United Kingdom's membership as a coastal state, purporting to represent the Chagos Archipelago in all United Nations bodies, as well as in international, regional, and intergovernmental organizations pursuant to paragraph 6 and 7 of the UN General Assembly Resolution 73/295. In this regard, we also look forward to the Secretary General's report on the implementation of this resolution, which we understand is expected in March-April 2020. Government deeply appreciates the support which Mauritius has received from the African Union and other countries and counts on their continued support for the rapid completion of the decolonization process of Mauritius. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I have another statement to make? Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to make a statement on the increase in the rates of basic pension as pledged in our electoral manifesto. The increase will take effect as from 1st December 2019. Some 220,484 pensioners aged between 60 to 89 will benefit from an increase of 2,790 rupees in their monthly basic retirement pension, from 6,210 to 9,000 rupees, representing an increase of 44.9% and an increase of 5,377 rupees when compared to the monthly rate of 3,623 rupees in November 2014. Some 4,264 pensioners aged between 90 to 99 years will henceforth draw 16,710 rupees, while some 157 centenarians will draw 21,710 rupees. Around 18,501 widows and 32,702 basic invalidity pensioners will also draw 9,000 rupees per month. Moreover, basic orphans pension for children under 5 years who are not in full-time education will be increased from 3,710 rupees to 5,000 rupees, that is an increase of 1,290 rupees, equivalent to 34.7%, and those aged 3 years and up to 20 years in full-time education from 5,210 rupees to 7,000 rupees, that is an increase of 1,790 rupees, equivalent to 34.3% per month. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a compassionate and caring government, we are also increasing the carers allowance for beneficiaries of basic retirement pension and those drawing invalidity allowance from 3,000 rupees to 3,500 rupees with effect from 1st of December 2019. Moreover, other allowances, namely child allowance, guardian's allowance, and inmates allowance, will be adjusted for some 54,779 beneficiaries. Mr. Speaker, sir, a beneficiary of basic pension will draw a total of 18,000 rupees for the month of December 2019, which includes the payment of end-of-year bonus. The increase in the rates will benefit a total of some 331,333 persons. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I move for adjournment of the House to Monday, the 2nd of December at 11:30.
The question is that the House be adjourned to Monday, 2nd December 2019 at 11:30 a.m. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. The Assembly is then adjourned.